Hey Raz, what's up? Hey Once. Okay Raz. Like I said, just let me know the cost of stuff and I'll send it over. Hey, what's up, Terrell? It's that time of the year where it's getting hot in here. Summer is here finally, so I got the AC on. Hopefully it's not too loud again. This is the Star brand I'm working on for somebody. So I've been working on the jacket. Figured kind of work on the sleeves a little bit. Yeah, Raz, what did you find out? Oh, yeah, that's nothing. I can fix that. I could even leave that, sort of make it look like damage. So, that works fine. Doesn't have to be pretty. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll utilize it. We'll make it a happy mistake. No wonder why these gloves were so damn cheap. Like, if I wasn't gonna customize everything and, you know, create something different, I would be upset with it, but like I said, I can utilize that to make it look like damage or something on it. So, it's fine. Not too worried. Hey, what's up, Devastator? Well, if you figured it out, that's all that counts. So I didn't do a review on this, but this is whatchamacallit, Inhumans bust I gotta paint up. This was the 3D print I guess they used for casting, and I needed to weigh these down. So when I dremeled these out, somebody threw paper towels in this, and then they clogged up the hole. So when I dremeled out the hole, the Dremel tool grabbed the paper towels and just pulled it out and just started whipping me in the face. So I was like, that kind of sucked. So I had to fill it in with freeform air. But sadly, the item was casted with that oil clay. So I got to do like a little bit of sanding on this. I hate working on something that somebody used for casting because it's got that oilish residue. I spent about a good hour washing it, but you can see some areas the primer just comes right off easily, and other areas it doesn't. So I gotta do like wet sanding on this next. But right now I gotta set up magnet. He wants to work both bases on this, so I gotta set up 2 keys for it. It's Bowen scale, I guess. I guess it's for Bowen scale. At least I think it's Bowen's. It's a little bit bigger than Bowen's scale. Well, it's kind of Bowen's scale. I wish it was only one base, but he wants to swap them out, so yeah. But I put fishing lead weights in here because I figured if I didn't weigh this down, he might be a little. Even though he's printed hollow, I'm actually worried that they put paper towels in this one because you can see they filled in the holes. So I'm not even going to try to see what's in the middle of this sucker. That's why the guy who produced this, and then I guess he had to mold it and cast it to sell copies. I told him, I said, I want a resin copy. Stop sending me the original that's been molded and casted, because trying to get all that oil clay off of it's a nightmare. It really is. It takes more time to do that than the actual just getting it prepped for paint and stuff. So. think I got one more summer out of this AC unit, and it might be time to replace it. The studio becomes a hot box. So if I don't have the AC in the studio going, it'll turn into like the garage. Because right above me I have a flat roof. So the way it is my main house has a main roof. Then there's a breezeway to the garage. The breezeway was turned into a room, but it's got like a slight pitched flat roof. So it's just basically a box, and it gets hot as shit in here. So like around this time of the day, about 3 o'clock to 4, it's like the sun is blaring directly into it. So the AC I cleaned, I did all my adulting this week. I cleaned out the AC units, I did that spray foam, and I got a kit, and I cleaned out all the coils, the vents, washed everything out throughout the 3 AC units in the house. So I sprayed this one down, which had a lot of rust in it. So it's because I get a lot of dust in here. But the problem is the button on the main thing, it doesn't work anymore. You're going to use the controller. So if the controller stops working completely, I'll never be able to turn it on and off again. So I don't know what happened. Just the button doesn't work anymore. So I think next one I'm going to get one that has like the heater and AC in one. So this way I could probably turn it on during the winter to heat up the room a little bit better. So I think next year I'll get a new one. I think it's good enough for this year. Hey, Thomas, thank you, appreciate it. We'll probably do more Jessica Rabbits down the line. But for right now, we got the next customs being printed. And then maybe we'll revisit them. Yeah, see, it's already starting to get hot again. Oh well. Yeah, I got the Bayonetta. I haven't had a chance to fill up the resin on her legs yet. I've been working on all these other projects. So I haven't had a chance to really do some side stuff yet. I got to whatchamacallit. I have to do a lot of house stuff first. So any free time I gotta finish my house objectives. How long have I been doing this? Since 2003. As a full-time job, 2014. Yeah, I airbrush. Behind me I have the airbrush set up. Hold on, I'll show you. Oops, sorry about that. Hold on. Yeah, so my airbrush setup is behind me. So there's all my airbrushes and the airbrush booth. So that's where I airbrush everything. Hey, what's up, Raccoon? This is Starbrand. It was the Adam Warlock from Bowen Designs. This one. So this is you know, remember the Khazar I did a while ago? So the same guy, he likes the old school stuff. So he wanted Starbrand for his collection. So we're turning this Warlock into it. I don't know if you remember, I did a Starbrand bust a while back too. So he wants a full size. Yeah, we used the Warlock base for a different statue a while ago. I forgot the character. So I had the Warlock sitting in the box, and he was like, why don't we turn it into Starbrand? So that's what we're doing. Yeah, the old school stuff is fun to do every once in a while, just because it's a nice change of pace. And you never really see anybody do these types of characters, really, even as like SDLs. So, plus he's a Bowen collector, so he wants everything in his Bowen scale. So that's kind of what we keep doing. Oh, it was the Doramo kit. Remember I did that Doramo kit? Or whatever the hell his name is. And we used that base. So that's what it was. Thomas, I do this for a living. I do commissions, repairs, repaints. This is all I do. I don't have a huge overhead, you know. I don't have a wife, kids, or any of that stuff. I don't live in a crazy expensive area, and it works out for what I live within my means, I guess you could say. So it works out. This jacket goes like that, somewhat. Where's there's the pictures? Better than what it was before. Hey Scott, how's it going? Yeah, we got hit with the summer now. You can hear my AC on, so it's starting. Still kind of cool at night, which is nice. Could open up the windows and turn on the fans. But during the day now, we're hitting that almost 80 mark now. Almost done with this hair, and I got the buster going, so we're getting there slowly. I'll add one more curl to this. So did you guys see the new shill video from Mr. Grizzy about the Fantastic Four stuff? I watched it earlier. Funny as hell. Looks like there's a couple new shills out there. Well, I watch the shill videos because it's not really negative. It's just them cheering on, you know, Marvel stuff, even though the Marvel stuff is horrible. I just find the video hilarious. Because in the latest video, they were saying that, you know, there's too much, like you said, negative stuff, blah, blah, blah. But then they said the movie's amazing, but the movie isn't even out yet. So I just find it funny. It's entertainment for me. Well, that whole Captain America movie supposedly was filmed without a script in the beginning. They were just filming fight scenes. So that's kind of why it was trash. Drill. Yeah, that was a big rumor for that Captain America. It was like they started filming it, and like Kevin Feige was just like, just start filming stuff. We'll work on it later. And it's like you're filming a movie with no script, no idea. Because I think it wasn't even the Captain America actor. He was like, "What the hell am I supposed to be doing?" You know, he was so confused on, you know, if he's supposed to be saying this line, doing this. It was just like, it was like a real big mess from what I understand. So, and Harrison Ford doesn't really care about anything anymore. He's too old. He probably just did it for like one last paycheck. I remember they hyped up Red Hulk, and was like Red Hulk was in there for like 5 minutes or something. I didn't watch it. I don't watch Marvel anymore. But I just laugh at all the shit going on. I knew that was going to happen sooner or later. I'm going to reset this hair. Yeah, something like that. They really messed that one up. Oh well, gonna have to pop out this hair and clean it up. It's the only thing that sucks when you do hair like this. Sometimes it, even though I bent the rod a certain way. Oh well. Let's see if I can pop this out. I'm gonna have to Dremel it out. Damn it. Oh well. Yeah, I heard Thunderbolts was okay. I won't watch it because I could care less for Sentry. But some people, everyone said it was alright. It wasn't mind-blowing, but it wasn't, you know, bad, I guess. See, that's the thing I get upset about with Bucky, is he was such a badass in the Civil War, but they made him into like a clown afterwards. He should have been Captain America. They should have did Winter Soldier Captain America. That would have been awesome. You know, I think that's what everybody really wanted to see. But they decided to go Falcon as the Captain America. Hey Jacob, been good. Hopefully yours has been good. I didn't film Supergirl yet. I got sidetracked this week. Had to do adulting stuff. So I'll probably do it tomorrow. Well, that's good. Street Fighter's in a good addiction, so I won't fault you for that. Yeah, I rewatched that one scene in the Flash movie where Christopher Reeves and Carter are together with the CGI. I geek out at that all the time, so I'm just hoping Superman and James Gunn stuff's good. I'm pretty sure it will be, but I'm looking forward to it. That's funny. Yeah, I remember Street Fighter 4. There's a lot of late nights playing that game too. I remember that like crazy. Street Fighter 4 was addicting. Street Fighter 4 was so addicting. I remember, whatchamacallit, when I used to play with my friends, we'd be at it so long and it'd be so in depth, I'd be just drenched sweating, just sitting there playing. Yeah, but the problem is you can't rush it though. You gotta take your time and get practice and make sure you play different players too. You know, because if you just play your friend over and over, you'll never learn anything. Well, that's how Street Fighter 4 was, man. Trust me, everything you're going through, I remember myself. There were so many, and I used to work on statues in the morning, and then at lunchtime, me and my friend would play for an hour. He'd be like, "Yo, let's play longer," because he's retired. I'm like, "No, man, I gotta get back to work." So he would sit there and play for like just all day long, and he would just whoop my ass because he had so much practice. But on weekends though, like I would never go out on weekends with Street Fighter 4. It was all just playing Street Fighter 4 every night. Saturday nights were awesome playing Street Fighter 4. Just going in ranked matches and just play that stuff all day. But yeah, there was tons of times where I was playing it because I had a little Asus monitor, because at the time those little Asus monitors were the best ones for refresh rate. So I had my Asus monitor, I had my Xbox 360, I had my stick, and I had this chair all set up in the corner of the display room, and I would play it Saturday night. And if it was in the summertime, you know, like say I started at like 6 o'clock, like you said, probably by like 9, 10 o'clock, I'm just like, the shirt's off, I'm sweating my ass off, I have the AC blasting. I did that once with EverQuest Raccoon. I remember on a Saturday, it was like a 4-day weekend. You know, I was working full time, and I was like, you know what, I gotta grind my character this weekend. So I remember getting up at like 9 o'clock because I wanted to sleep in. I got ready and I sat down and started playing EverQuest. I remember I went out to grab a bite to eat for lunch, and I came back and I was there all day. By the end of the day, I was so beat. I was like, I can't ever do this again. But there was one time with Warcraft. Was it Warcraft or was it EverQuest? It was either EverQuest or Warcraft. No, it was Warcraft. A friend of mine I was playing with, he lived in New York at the time, and he was begging me to help him do a grind. So I was helping him one night, and it was like 3 in the morning, and I was like, dude, I gotta go. He's like, all right. And then I remembered I had a freelance graphic job to illustrate some artwork for my job, and I needed it to be done the next day, and I completely forgot about it. So I spent the next 2 hours after that doing it. So it was like 5 in the morning. I was friggin' just burnt, so I only slept for like 2 hours, got up and went to work. I was like, never again. I'm like, I was like, I can't ever do this again. So I told him, I was like, don't ever ask me to do that stuff ever again. I was like, I'm too old for this crap. See, I don't know how Street Fighter 6 is, because I remember Street Fighter 4, if you knew you had to play your character, you were going to be fine, but you needed to learn every matchup. You know, you needed to learn, like I was Rose, so I needed to learn how Rose played against Dalsim. I needed to know how Rose played against Ziggy. You couldn't just fight anybody and not know, you had to know every match, so it was a lot of studying. And then every time they balanced the game and added new characters, you had to learn everything all over again. Well, that's the main thing about Street Fighter. If you want to get good, you pick that main character and you just, that's it. You stick with that character nonstop. There was a guy that was on the forums I belonged to. He was a good, nice guy, but every week he would learn a new character. He's like, oh, this is my new main character. And we're like, okay. And we would whoop his ass because he's learning the matches over. And then next week he would pick a different character. And we kept telling him that Gookin, he was good with Gookin, why not stick with him? But he refused to just stick with that one character. I'm the type of person where when I play a game, I pick, like if it's World of Warcraft, I pick the mage, and that was it. I didn't play any other characters. Street Fighter, I was Rose, but I would just play with Dan for fun. But I just would stick with Rose and Alpha, Street Fighter 4, and so on. And just, I always played that one character build, and that's it. I knew too many people that would play like every single character, and if they had fun, that's fine. But me, I wanted to stick with one character, and that's it. You're one of those players, Raccoon? Yeah, I could never do that. I had a friend who, when we first started Warcraft, he did that too. Like, the first week he would be a necromancer, and he would get the character up to like, 40 or something. He'd be like, oh, I'm changing it to a rogue, and then he would go to this, and I would always have to help him with the zones, and I was like, dude, I'm maxed out, and I've got this really good gear, and you're always bitching that you're never powerful enough. But I understand. Some people like to play that way. I was a ice mage in Warcraft. That's all I really wanted to play. Even though ice mages in the beginning were crap, they're only good for PvP. That's all I played. That's why I got kicked out of like 2 guilds, because they were like, you gotta spec magic, you gotta spec arcane. I was like, no. I was like, I want to play an ice mage. They're like, well, if you're not going to respec, we can't have you in the guild. I was like, alright, see you later. I was like, this is just the way I want to play. But I wasn't big on raiding though. Even though the one guild I was in, they wanted to raid like at Saturday nights and you had to be on, I was like, I ain't doing that crap. Well, when Warcraft first came out, I picked Frost right away because it just looked really cool and I liked the build. But in early game, Frost was great, but late game, it was only good for PvP in the very beginning. But then as they started rebalancing everybody, it became doable. But I used to visit old zones though, just for fun. I would go to the old zones where nobody was in that and just like roam around it and explore. I didn't really want to do the hardcore raiding anymore because that killed me in EverQuest. Because in EverQuest, like, it was so crazy in EverQuest that if you were in a hardcore guild, they would call you at like 3 a.m. in the morning and say, the mob is up, get online, we got to go kill it, because that's EverQuest. But Warcraft simplified everything, but even then, if you wanted to be in a good guild, they were like, you got to have this gear and you got to do this, and I'm just like, no, I want to play it my way, so I tried a Necromancer, didn't like it. I tried a Paladin, didn't like it. And then my one friend was like, he's like, come play with us on the Alliance side for a bit. He's like, don't worry, I'll gear you up. So I started an Ice Mage on the Alliance server. And then I played with him for about 4 months, and then he fucking quit the game on me. And I was like, you bastard. Then I went back to my Horde Mage. Early World of Warcraft was fun, like, because I was in beta. I got into beta, it was fun, and then when it was released, it was a fun game. But I was watching Asmongold's video about the state of World of Warcraft now, and it looks like it's not like the Warcraft I played, because I think I stopped playing back in 2010. I think that's when I stopped. Yeah, I think it was 2010, or no, maybe 2009. Somewhere around there. I think 2010. I might have played it in 2011 a little bit, but then I know I stopped completely. When I got this house in 2012, I was never playing it anymore. I notice now if you play, you go through like a simplified beginning, and you get up to like levels like 50 like right away. In the old Warcraft, you had to grind to 50, and you had to do zones, and you had to go to this zone, you had to go to that zone. So I guess they simplified the game now. Oh well, I mean, it is what it is. I just find it funny. Alright, so I think this bust is looking pretty good. Yeah, I heard about that. I left a long time before that. To this day, I believe Warcraft died when they added Blood Elves. Because once they added Blood Elves, that's when all the Alliance kids came running to the Horde, and it ruined the Horde. Because the Horde back when I started was very, very low populated, and you had to know how to play the game, especially in PvP. Because all the Horde kids would just zerg you, so you had to actually learn and play. And then once they added the Blood Elves, all the Alliance kids came to the Horde, and PvP went to hell. I wasn't really big into PvP, but I enjoyed the zones, because in the beginning, just the Horde could communicate really good, and I enjoyed it. But then, once the Alliance kids came in, we would say, don't go there yet, work on this flag first, and they would just run everywhere, and the Horde started losing like crazy. But before that, you would just go into the zone, and everybody knew like what to do and how to do it, and it was great. But Hey, what's up, Mimi? But that's early Warcraft. We're talking about, that's like the first year of Warcraft. Well, Arctic Valley in the beginning was not a Zerg fest. It was a very, it would go on for like 3-4 days. It was just like you would be in there for like 10 hours and it would never finish. That was very early Warcraft. But the one where, well, I forgot what it was called. It was like capture the flag. You would have 5 flags on the zone, and you would have to sit there and capture the flag and hold it. I forget that one. That one, I love that one a lot because people knew how to, like, okay, this flag is being contested. Everybody would kind of shift and help them. And then if this flag was contested, the Horde knew what they were doing. And then what was the other one? There was Arctic Valley, there was that capture the flag, and then there was another one. There's another one, I forgot the other one. But that capture the flag one was really popular with the Horde in that first year. Because people just knew how to kind of hold. People would say, you know, which I guess it was like camp zone or the centers being hit. I need backup, and people would just kind of shift. It was good until you captured all 5. Then they changed Arctic Valley, where just the Horde and Alliance just passed each other, just to collect coins, and it was stupid. I hated it because I'm like, you're just running to the end of the zone, and the Alliance had an advantage because they didn't have to cross the bridge, so they would always win. So, but that's, like I said, that's early, and that was back in the day, and then they added that other one, that big one, where it was like 40 on 40, where you could capture the castle. Everything just became a Zerg. It just became a Zerg just where you collect coins for your gear. There wasn't any kind of strategy. Unless you were in a high PvP guild and you went in with strategy, it was different. There was a guild on my server. You had to be like heavy into PvP to get in it. But when they did the 40 plus 40 zone, if you knew people and you were semi-good in PvP, they would invite you in. No, Arctic Valley is the one where you do have the towers, but there was the one that was like there was a second one, I think it was 40 to 40, where you could capture the tanks or like the catapults or something. I forgot what it was. Warsong Gulch, yeah. Yep, that's the other one. Yeah, but early Arctic Valley, you would have to collect all the tokens from kills, and you would have to summon the monsters, and the monsters would help you kill all the Alliance. It was such a crazy PvP. Wintergrasp, that's it. Yep, Wintergrasp. Like I said, it's been a long time. I'm sure they've changed everything up. I don't know if you remember when Warcraft first came out. They had a system where it was a PvP system, and you would collect points. And as your character collected points, you would go up in rank. And as you went up in rank, you would get the gear. And I guess it was the Horde was like, I think Warlord. That's like the highest rank you could get. I was 300 points away, which would have been like 4 more days of just grinding out PvP zones. And I could have got that Warlord armor. But that's when the expansion, I guess the first expansion came out, and they redid all the PvP, and I didn't get that title. I was so pissed off. I was just like 300 points away or something. So damn close. It wasn't that I wanted the gear. Oh, I wanted the gear, but I was so close to that title. That's how good the Horde was in the beginning. You could just do pickup groups and gain titles. No, you get to keep the title, but you can never get the title again. But I was just so But yeah, they removed on how you got that title. So before Warlord, the second one up, my Horde character was that title, whichever it was. Like I said, this is back in the day. The gear was ugly as hell for Horde too, but what it was is I enjoyed doing early Warcraft PvP because it was fun. You go in there, you could go with a pickup group and you would win because the Horde was good. And I didn't enjoy doing PvE stuff because it was just, you know, they would make you spec the way you want. You had to play the way they wanted you to play. That's why I did PvP. And then when they changed up PvP and they added the Blood Elves, that's kind of when I just really didn't like the game much anymore. Blood Elves, and a lot of my friends too said it, Blood Elves killed Warcraft for us. Horde should have always been the ugly characters and never pretty looking. They should have been like, you know, the undead, the orcs, you know, all that stuff. But they put the Blood Elves because they wanted to balance the Horde and the Alliance. I remember that expansion with the Blood Elves. Literally the next day, there was just thousands of Blood Elves, and in PvP, within like 3 weeks, they were just horrible. And it got to the point where when I would do a pickup group, we would kick out any Blood Elf that wanted to join us. That's how bad it was. Don't they have a classic classic now? Like where you kind of like everybody plays the classic and then the next expansion opens up after a certain amount of time? Or is it just a classic zone and that's it? Yeah, we would ban you. Even if we knew you, we would ban you. We just didn't like, just nobody liked the Blood Elves. Yeah, I couldn't imagine playing Warcraft anymore, especially the way things are now, with the, you know, trying to get work done and statues and bills and just everything else. I just don't, I wouldn't have the time to play. Then again, I don't even know if my old characters are still around anymore. I think they did a purge at one point. The original? What do you mean? So it's you could play the old Warcraft? Yeah, I wouldn't even know if they kept the characters, honestly, because I like I said, it's been since 2000 about probably 2011 was the last time I played. I'm not sure if I know the server I was on at one point merged. And I'm not sure. I thought at one point they said they were going to delete any characters that haven't logged in for like a couple years. Maybe, I don't know. So it's alright, not that I would want to log in anyway. I mean, I'd have to buy the game, the expansions, pay a monthly pass, and probably play for like an hour and be like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. So... The reason why I gave up on Warcraft, the main reason I gave up was because I think, what was it? I think Wrath of the Lich King. Did I get it? I'm not sure if I got to that expansion. I think I did. And what it was is every time I got enough gear and I was powerful and I was able to do stuff with pickup guilds or groups, the new expansion would come out and they would just completely wipe out your old gear. Everything became obsolete and you have to do it all over again. Instead of just introducing new stuff or kind of making it fun, it just, you had to kind of grind it all over again. And then the next expansion, you had to grind it all over again. And it just got to the point where I was like, I just got sick of grinding. So that's kind of why I stopped. Well, like I said, Classic in the beginning, it was very, very... You still had to think about the game. It wasn't dumbed down. So you had to kind of really... you know, it was definitely... It was boxed. You start off in this zone, and then when you get power enough, you go to this zone, and then you go to that zone, you go to that zone, you know, and you just had to keep going and stuff. But if you enjoyed going through the quests, reading them, exploring, it was fun. But I think now they just kind of get you up to level 70 so you could go into a zone with people and that's it. I tell you one thing, Raccoon. If you tried EverQuest, see playing WoW, and then if you were to try EverQuest, you probably would you'd probably kill somebody. So imagine in EverQuest, right? Say you're level 5. Just say you get, because you go up to level 65. Say you're level 5 and you have a little bit of a bubble left, and then you get to level 6 and you get a little bit of experience over level 6 and you die, you lose your experience and you go back to level 5. So imagine you're like, they had hell levels. So when you get to level 50, it's called a hell level. It takes twice amount of experience to get through that level. So when you hit level 51, if you died, you go back to 50, you'd have to grind to get back to that 61 again. So, and in EverQuest, if you die and your body is in a zone, and if you don't get to your body within, like, I think it was, like, I think you'd have, like, 8 hours or something, body would rot and you would lose all your gear. So if you went into a high level zone with a group of people and you died and they all logged off, you would have to have a necromancer summon your body to you. And then if you had a cleric, you would have to have a cleric resurrect you so you get some of your experience back. EverQuest was hardcore. I mean hardcore. I lost a robe one time. I died, and my friend screwed me, and the server went down, and then I went to bed, and when I woke up the next day, I tried to get my body back, and it was gone. It wasn't a crazy rare robe, but it was a hard robe to get, so I had to do it all over again. Yeah, but see, if you started with EverQuest, and then you went to Warcraft like I did, you would say like Warcraft was super easy. Yeah, EverQuest, I remember I joined a guild, and the guys were like, you know, they were like, yeah, your friend told us about you, you're good. I was a mage, you know, like, oh, you do summon a pet, and it's kind of like a wizard slash, like, pets. You can have earth, water, fire, air. So the guy's like, you know, we raid, we do stuff, we'll help you get gear. I was like, okay, cool. So the guy was like, yeah, you know, sometimes we call people to come in and raid. I'm like, well, I don't really want to give out my number. They're like, okay, it's not a big deal. My friend gave them my number. They called me up at like 1 o'clock in the morning one time, like, hey, we need you in the raid. I'm like, dude, I got work in the morning. I'm like, and I was like, how the hell did you get my number? Of course, I find out my friend gave it to them. Yeah, EverQuest was a whole new level. But EverQuest was like the first MMO. If you get bored one day, you should look up some videos on EverQuest, the old EverQuest. The graphics are bad, but you gotta understand it was the beginning of, like, you know, online gaming like that. But I had a lot of fun times though on it. I've actually EverQuest, I think, is back. It came back. I think another company bought it, so you could play it now. And there's two EverQuests, I think. There's the old classic EverQuest, and then they have a modified one where you can actually, like, you don't lose your experience or your gear and stuff, and you can level a little bit faster. Some other company bought it because it used to be by Sony Entertainment. But I think they're supposedly EverQuest 3 is gonna, because there was EverQuest 2 and it bombed. It was horrible. Jagnax? Oh, okay. So supposedly they're going to be coming out with an EverQuest 3. I think it was about like 2-3 weeks ago. I was watching some videos on it. And I'm sitting there like, oh man, it would be so cool to play. But then I had a flashback of all those hours of grinding, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that again. But EverQuest was more social, I guess you could say, because you had to actually talk to people. You had to you couldn't just go to like an auction house and put stuff up for sale. You had to go to a zone. And you had to like type in chat, I have this robe for sale, is anyone interested? You have to go meet them and you would have to trade in the window. You know, it was very sociable, so you met a lot of people. That was a good thing about it. But the crazy thing about EverQuest, which is very cool, if you think about it. So say you were level 50, right? And you had a lot of good gear. If you went into a low-level zone, mobs couldn't really kill you. They could kill you if you went AFK and they were just whacking you for like a couple hours, they could kill you. But if you lost your gear, even though you're level 50 and you would go into a low-level zone, without all that gear on, those low-level monsters could still kill you, which was very realistic almost. But yeah, there was a lot of rage back in the day when guilds would go into a zone and they would wipe out on a monster and they couldn't get their corpses back on time and they would lose all their gear, and a lot of people lost their minds. And then and another problem too is there was a high level guild on my server, and they were called Fires of Heaven. Top guild, top people, top everything. So if a low-level guild went into a zone to kill a monster, and if that guild wiped out on that monster, that guild would come in and kill the monster while all their corpses were there, and they would kill it. You know, that's the way the servers worked. If you didn't kill the monster on your first try, another guild could come in and take it if they were assholes. Well, EverQuest was built on Dungeons and Dragons, you know, like Dungeons and Dragons game. So it was the very first MMO. So it was built on playing the game a long time. Because you know how, like, I never played Dungeons and Dragons, but you could play Dungeons and Dragons campaign with a group of friends, and it could go on a year. You know, you could play like every night for a year. So EverQuest was built on that, where it was sort of, they didn't think about the casual gamer, you know. They thought about it as the D&D player type of person that would want to log in every day, and play and, you know, talk to friends and, you know, because you had your PvP server, you had your PvE server, player versus environment, and then you also had your roleplay servers. So there was 3 servers on EverQuest. So if you wanted the PvP all day long, you would go into that server. If you wanted to roleplay with friends and, you know, like, people that actually would talk in chat, or like in the chat, like, you know, they were an orc, or they would act like a high elf above. So that it was like, it was built on that you know, whole thing. It was a very, very hardcore, but I mean, they never thought about the, you know, 8-year-old kid coming in that just wants to kill a high-level monster and go and log off, you know? So the guys who created EverQuest left and they worked on Warcraft. Or at least something like that. So the guys who created Warcraft either consulted with EverQuest players or brought them on, something like that. Like I said, it was fun for its time. Very, very addicting. But it was good for me though, because I just got out of art school and I had to save money. I needed to pay off my student loan, so instead of going to the bars all the time, it saved me a lot of money. Yeah, Warcraft had a bunch of issues, I think, in the beginning, but I know they pulled in a lot of the EverQuest guys. Because even when I was in beta for Warcraft, they would have like, you would do a quest or you would go into a zone and then a window would pop open and like, do you like this zone? Did you like that quest? Or do you want it easier or harder? And they kind of did a lot of that stuff. Yeah, but EverQuest, damn, there was a lot of stuff too about EverQuest back in the day. There was like I said, I think we talked about it last time. There was like stories where people who had newborn babies would leave them in the room for like hours crying, and they were so addicted to playing with their headphones on they didn't hear the babies. There were stories where like kids were left at school and their parents didn't go to pick them up, and it was a very addicting game. So if you think Warcraft is difficult, trust me, it's they really solved a lot of those issues. Yeah, that's true, Jacob. But if you were smart, you had a clock on your desk, you know. I know. I think it was. I think it was the UK that cracked down on EverQuest there for a while. I think there was something in the UK that they did something. Mimi, no. What happened was the Power Girl torso, the abs, I grinded down the cloth, and it got all screwed up. So I'm kind of rebuilding it a bit. It was all messy, and instead of trying to sit there and chisel in resin, it's better just to put Aves on it. I got a picture of a torso, sort of, I'm looking at, just to kind of come close to it a little bit. I'm not trying to make her muscular, just trying to show some kind of better abs than what was there. So, that's the goal. They did what? What did they do that for, Jacob? They didn't do that on EverQuest. At least not when I played. Oh, Warcraft kicks you off? Really? I didn't know that. I wonder, maybe they did that and I never knew? Hey, Hangbird, how's it going? Oh, you went to Wonderfest? Is that the one in Kentucky? Yeah, I haven't been to that one in ages, but yeah, that one in Kentucky was always good. It's like one of the biggest shows, right? I took a plane when I went though because I didn't know anybody at the time to hitch a ride with. Model Club TV, I'm gonna have to check it out. Hanger, was it people you knew, or was it just people you just kind of talked on a forum to meet up with? It's pretty cool that A's was there. I don't remember them ever doing any shows in the past. Yeah, 17 hours would do that. Hey, no one, how's it going? Bruce the Shark from Jaws. Was there a lot of crazy kits there too? I'm pretty sure the collection, well, the contest room is probably crazy. That's a good thing about that show is the contest room. Would you say there was like a lot of 3D printed kits now? You know, like sculpted? Or is there still like a lot of traditional stuff still there? I'm pretty sure it's mostly 3D sculpted. Yeah, I figured as much. Well, yeah, that's just taken over because everybody has one now, so I'm not going to be able to get away from that. Yeah, because it's easier to just 3D print a couple kits than it is, and cheaper than to sit there and mold and cast and all that stuff. So that's definitely where everything's headed. But I mean, as long as they're still having the show and everything, that's all that counts. I mean, as long as there's still people in the hobby and people want to get into stuff. But yeah, I could see in a couple more years just buying an STL file and then printing it and you're done, instead of going to a show to buy the stuff. But unless people keep it on lock and key, you know. Well, no, I mean, you still gotta 3D print it, and you still have those fumes. But it's the person who 3D prints it that's gotta deal with it. Oh yeah, it's definitely easier with the STL files. The only problem with the STL files is you could collect a lot more files and never get to them. That's why I'm not buying files unless I'm actually ready to work on them, because within another week or two, the same character comes out and it's a better sculpt, and you know, so there's no reason to hoard files anymore. Yeah, the hobby's definitely changing. I don't think it's going to die. It's just going to, like you said, it's just going to be different STL files. You know, you're gonna not really gonna have people selling copies of kits unless it, like I said, they have it on a lockdown where they're like, we sculpted this, but if you want a copy, I'll print it out for you. You know, instead of letting the file go out in the wild. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but once the file's out in the wild, that's it. There's no you know, it's the internet. You're never going to stop it. I mean, it's even changed for me now. You know, it's like I don't hunt down like sideshow stuff anymore for customs. I mean, you could still use a sideshow item for a custom, and a lot of people are still asking for it because they love the sculpt. But for me, you know, I'm looking at STL files to be printed out to customize. Yeah, you can. There's plenty of guys out there that 3D print, so you don't really need to have one if you're not going to be printing all day long. There's always guys you can ask to print stuff, and so you're good on that end. Well, I'm not in the same position as you. I still have a lot of, like, I got a bunch of sideshow items that are collecting dust I need to customize, so that's why I'm working on this one. I'm trying to get these side items kind of out the door, so I can, like, within another year or so, kind of just focus on STLs for now on. I don't mind getting sideshow items if they're damaged or somebody doesn't want them, but at this point it's like, it's either $100 shipped or not taking it at all because of the price increase on them. But still, I still like sideshow stuff for customs and everything. It's just no reason to drop the cash when STL. There's a lot of STLs out there that are really cool, and I want to customize them. So I have to ask, was there any drama at the show? Usually, there's always usually somebody crying about the contests that they didn't win. At least the 2 times I went. I saw people flip out because somebody won and they were like, theirs was crap, they shouldn't have won, and there was a couple drama when I went there a few times. Well, usually the drama isn't like, well, it's not like in your face. Sometimes you hear people, you know, talking in rooms, or maybe if you know a couple people. I just know, I remember my first year I went, I think was 2006, and I was like a noob and nobody knew who I was. But then I went back in 2008 or 2009, and that's one year where I knew a couple people and I overheard a bunch of drama. Well, it wasn't crazy drama. It was just like, oh, I don't know how they won. I should have won, and blah, blah, blah. And I sat there and kind of laughed. Like, it's just a resin kit to me, you know. It's not the end of the world. But a lot of people love to, you know, win. Yeah, I know. I know a lot of the guys are getting older now. I know a couple people passed away. It's like a lot of the old the guys are just kind of sadly not doing too well. I'll be the next generation of that. As long as I don't drop dead on the stream, we're good. If I drop dead on the stream, then we got a problem. Everything is good. We had a lot of rain after the fires, so it took out a lot of it. They've done a lot of control burn since around the areas, so they got it pretty much contained. And the crazy thing is, a lot of the areas where they did the control burns, grass is already growing up there again, so it's moving along pretty fast. Oh yeah, Hanger, we had the. I don't know if you heard about it, New Jersey in Ocean County, we had the fires. Some 19-year-old lit a pallet of wood, and he didn't do it correctly and caused a crazy fire. Worst fire in New Jersey ever. And literally right behind me to the west was like, I was pretty much locked into my town because the fires were literally across the street in the area. So that was a scary week. Oh, you didn't hear about it? Yeah, it was crazy. Crazy. It was burning for days because they couldn't put it out. Because it was brush fire and that just keeps going. Alright, let's let that harden up a bit. Maybe I think I still have the pictures. Let me see. I know I can leave them off OBS. I have a. Yeah, so this is one picture. Oops. Oops. So that was literally across the street from me. That whole big, that was the forest fire. That was probably about like 20 miles away, 15 miles away, 20 miles away, something like that. And then, where's the other picture? So that right there, so this right here, directly west that way is, like right behind me is the water, the Barnegat Bay, the ocean. And this is about 5 miles away from my house, east. So it started over here, like where my house sort of is, and then it started moving up north, toward the parkway up north. And then this was the wind blowing it all down. So I had fire and ash all over my house. So yeah, I'll show one more picture. Hold on. Let's see one more. So this was the road right down the street from me. So this is where the fire was going to hop across the highway to where I live. But what they did is this is all control burns because it started catching fire right behind this area that back there. So if it hopped this road in this direction to the east, it would have went into my whole town area and burned all the houses. So yeah, that was a pretty shitty week. Was it the day? It wasn't the day I streamed. It was on a weekday, right? I forgot when it started. It was, let me try to think. I think it was like a Monday or Tuesday. I think. I remember waking up. I got into the garage. I got working on statues, and it was probably around 11 o'clock. I started smelling smoke. I didn't think much of it, and then all of a sudden, I went outside and I looked across the street and I saw a thing of smoke, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And then, sure enough, boom! It was. It just started into a forest fire. Hey, what's up, Joe? So, yeah. So like I told last time, I got a bingo card. We've had a pandemic, we've had a forest fire, at least for me. See, family emergencies. I went through the flooding with that hurricane back in 2015. I think God is just saying, like, telling me to check my bingo card all the time. So next is zombies. I'm waiting for the zombie apocalypse. That's the next thing. Yeah, we were. It's kind of funny. I've been through the hurricane with the flooding, and you had to evacuate. Which, you know, I mean, the flooding in the hurricane's crazy. But with the fires, it's different because you got all that smoke. And I'm already, like, I'm here, the water's behind me, but in this direction's the fire. So when we have a flooding, you have evacuations to go west. But with a fire, where do you go? You have to, like, drive through the fire to get out of it. And that's something new. Oh, and then I got the power plant down the road from me, which isn't functional. It's not, but it still has the radiation in it. So maybe that'll blow up one day. So we'll have everyone will become mutants. So I got a bingo card going. So we'll see what happens. But like the Cali fires are, that's you know, it's all dry and it's without any water, because we had a drought here too, so that's why everything went up in flames. Who's ready for the zombie apocalypse? You guys ready? I'm ready. I say bring it on. Let's just get it over and done with. They're trying to bring back another pandemic, but I'd rather the zombie apocalypse start. Yeah, it's I drove through the back roads where it was supposedly the fire took place, but it seemed like a lot of the grass is growing pretty fast, so it's kind of like you'd have to go into the deeper woods to see it. But I thought an alien invasion, well, maybe an alien invasion is during the zombie apocalypse. Clown invasion? I think we already got enough clowns out there as it is. We're pretty much an idiocracy with some of the people out there. I mean, I could go to Wawa or I could go to ShopRite and I could see the idiots. So I think we already have the clowns, just not dressed up as clowns. This is why I say we have clowns now. So I went to in my town. This was funny. I'll kind of show you this. So my town has like yearly yearly shredding for papers. So when you go into this parking lot, you line up your cars this way. So the first people come in and you line up your cars like here, you know. And then after this is filled, you put in your next line of cars, you know. And I got there early, so I was like right here. So this is the type of clowns we have in this damn planet, right? So the way it works is, you know, when the shredding starts to the trucks, you drive up your car, you open up your back trunk, and they take out your papers and they shred them. So these cars go, and then these cars go, right? So as this line kind of was already gone, right? This line was gone. So the cops started making the next line because the lines went out to here, and so the next people come up. So here's the next people line up, right? And then the car was here. So this lady, you figure she's a Karen. She's like, oh, this is a short line here. So she goes and she guns her car. She kind of skids. She almost hit me. And she goes up here and the cop yells at her. And I'm sitting there laughing my ass off because she's so dumb that this line is the line that's going to go first, then this line. But since she saw a car there, she thought she was going to go before everyone else. So I'm sitting there and I'm laughing my ass off because I'm like, lady, you just took yourself out of like 5 cars. And the sad thing is the line went into the park, you know, to the parking lot, like tons of cars. So whenever the trucks are full, that's when they stop the shredding. So she could have made it to the, you know, she could have been like that last car who misses it. So I'm got a lot of stupid people out there, a lot of clowns. I think I'd be okay in the zombie apocalypse too. If I had to run, if they were fast zombies, I think I'd be a goner. But if they're slow zombies, I think I'd be okay for a while. You know, just kind of try to find an escape plan, bunker down with some food. Hopefully by the winter comes, they all start freezing. That's true. Well, didn't we come close to a zombie apocalypse a few years ago? Weren't people like taking bath salts and they were turning them into like zombies and stuff? There was something with bath salts a while back. Yeah, but Terrell, like if you go online now, if we had a zombie apocalypse, there would be people there saying zombies have rights too. Zombies need to have a life. We should cater to the zombies. So, like I said, I think we would be fine because you would have a Karen going up to a zombie and trying to hug them and saying we feel for you, and at least the Karens of the world will kind of get eaten up, and you know they'll be the ones that turn into zombies. I missed that Daniel Tosh show. That stuff was good. Was it Tosh 2.0? Is that the guy? Oh yeah, that's true. Like I said, there'd be people that would want to advocate for, yeah, even if aliens came and they wanted to, you know, cook us, like what was it, that old Twilight Zone skit? There would be people out there saying aliens need to eat too, you know. So I'm sure, like you said, aliens are probably watching us, being like, "That's the dumbest species in the world." I'm sure the Karens of Earth are well known in the galaxy. They're probably like, yeah, don't go there. If you meet a Karen, get in your ship and get the hell out of there. Well, like I said, they wanted to bring back, like, every time I go on YouTube, I see videos now where they're talking about another pandemic. I'm just like, if you're gonna have a pandemic, make it a serious one. Like, do you guys ever see that Stephen King's The Stand, where they were like, they had body bags, you know, and they had to open up the church, and there was all dead bodies in the church for praying. Like, if we're gonna have a pandemic, at least go that route. And if I'm one of the ones, I don't care. But at least make it a serious one. I gotta sand all that down, but that's definitely better than what I had before. It's a mess. This is for that rogue I was working on last week. For some odd reason, it's not a perfect X. So if you look at it this direction, but you turn it this way, it's not. Like if you turn it, it's not a perfect X. It's weird. See? So, not really sure why it was sculpted like that. but this part was sunken in and I didn't like it, so I've kind of been filling it in. I was gonna pour resin in it, but I realized if I messed up, I would have filled in these little notches. So like, screw it. Yeah, it's for that 1/6 Rogue. I'll pull her out in a second. I just didn't. It's just a weird. It's a weird sculpt. So this is the Rogue. As you can see, what happened was when I was going to get her keyed in here. The problem was, like, her feet don't line up perfect. So I decided I'd fill this in too, because trying to put her on the X would look weird, you know. She needs to be like that direction. So I gotta kind of mess with it a bit. I'm thinking it's weird. I don't know how. I don't know. Anyway, I'll figure it out. So I sanded down her calf muscles because I forgot the guy that sculpted this. They give her a really big booty. So I sanded all this down, gave it more of the Bone Designs look. She's still got a little bit of a junk in her trunk, but at least the thigh muscles aren't like out here too far. But I am making which version am I making? I guess I deleted it. Let's find it again. Where are you? So many pictures. Oh, here we go. So we're making this for bow and scale. I figure once I get the jacket on her, it'll kind of fix a little bit of the booty area. It's just her feet I gotta figure out what to do. It didn't, I guess the way he has it was her foot's supposed to kind of come up a bit. So I guess that's the way it's gonna work. I'll probably have to use the thicker one. You know, like I said, it's just a weird X. It's not a perfect X. You know, these two are bigger than these two, but when you look at this, it's not lining up correctly. So I guess he must have used a font or something. But whatever. I'll just clean it up a bit and it should work out pretty good. Yeah, so far this rogue is in. Now this is not the head that came with the kit. This is from a different one. So what I got to do next is probably start working on the boots a bit. And then I'll work on, once I get the arms on, I'll work on the jacket and I'll do the hair last. So, not bad though. If you want a big booty girl, this rogue was good. This was that, I forgot the guy's name. But if you go on to like cults and stuff, you'll see it. I'm gonna go roll this out real quick. See if this toughens up a little bit. You guys see that that one Mary Jane STL? It's I call it the Latina Mary Jane. I like it a lot, and I think I definitely want to use it for a custom down the line. Yeah, some of the legs are kind of off, but this one was, whatchamacallit, not bad. Yeah, I need to find that Mary Jane. She is thick as hell, but it's a good sculpt. I just had it. Hold on, hold on, hold on. There we go. I'm on We Are Collectors now. A Dark Phoenix? I don't remember one. I'd have to look later. Oh yeah, thanks, Joe. I just linked it. Just as she sent it, I linked it. Oh, that Dark Phoenix. Okay. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, but that Mary Jane, I like it a lot. She is thick. Yeah, I'd have to look more. Alright, so what I need to do is sort of take down this area a bit, take down that, and add some wrinkles, but I just need to sand this a bit more. So this part here is too. But that MJ would be a fun custom. I got a couple ideas for that. See, this is the thing with STLs. I'm working on this. There's an STL I want to print and work on. And then by the time I'm ready to get that STL printed, there's already like 5 more that I'm like, I like better, you know? So... But that MJ is thick. I like that one a lot. Actually, let me keep this on. I can see a little bit better here. That's why I hope after we finish the next round of customs for Patreon, maybe somebody will make a cool Jessica Rabbit. There's been a couple Jessica Rabbits that came out, but I'm not really into them. So far, the ones I did before are still the best option. Except that one I saw on Cults, where she's got the microphone. So that one might be an option too. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you like that Mary Jane or not? I do. I think it's nice. It's nice for a custom project. You can't see it? Joe sent me a picture. I'll Yeah, I'm not saying the face is perfect, but don't forget that face is digitally colored. But I do like the anatomy in the body, so I would thinking about maybe using it for a custom down the line for a character or two. I got a couple characters of mine But I also think it was done for ES Monsters Patreon. So knowing ES Monster, he probably did it as a nude version too, or will. I don't know. We'll see. Well, see, I think this sculpt like this could be a number of characters. It could be a cool Velma. It could be a cool Jessie from Pokemon. She's got the shorts. It could be a really sick-looking Misty, you know. So yeah, it's on my radar for down the line. But there's that one sick Emma Frost. Did you guys see that one Emma Frost? I actually like this one. It's not off the Rivals. It's where is it? Did that not happen? That's a cool Emma Frost. I like the design of it. It's a little bit different. I think it's based off a comic cover, so it's not bad. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a pre-painted one or if it's an STL, but it looks kind of cool. It's something different, you know? It's not the typical laying on the chair or anything. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out. A lot of different sculpts. Get to the point where nobody's really going to be able to do them all. Alright, I got a little bit of tweaking left on this, but I think once I add the outfit and the stretch marks and the stuff, it'll kind of go away. But yeah, it's definitely better than what it was. Alright, that's good. Alright, so I got a Joe's MJ. Kind of worked out the neck, got the head all situated. Let's try to get these sleeves on. Chat is, yeah, my stream in chat is really delayed. Like, we're delayed 2 minutes out or something. Weird. Yeah, this had worked out perfect. The issue was I had to rebuild this area here. A lot of this hair is going to cover this, so this shoulder and everything that looks a little off will get hidden. But it was here that was a problem. That, like, the way the sculptor did it is he didn't have any like neck muscles at all. So I kind of wanted to bring that back. So, but I mean, from this angle here, the head is like perfect on it, you know? Because what'll happen is when I add hair around here and I add hair here, it'll work it all out. You know, I'm gonna add some stretch marks with the t-shirt, but yeah, I think what it was, he just had no collarbone or neck muscles at all. So I still gotta add sort of the t-shirt, you know, like once I add the t-shirt here, you know, it'll work out, because then the hair will flow around, and the hair will flow around here. Yeah, that's what was missing on the head area, big time. Once I got that neck muscle on there, it worked out. So I got to do that with the Gwen. I haven't had a chance yet, but that's what was missing. And then and when the head connected here, I guess what he did was when he cut it in a weird angle. So the way the back looks, it's like weird, but when I sculpt all the hair here, it'll go away. But that was the only issue I had really with this head, was just rebuild the neck. Once I rebuilt the neck though, it worked out good. Yeah, the same thing with the Gwen. I'm gonna have to rebuild that neck. It's like, what it is he sculpted, you know, he sculpted the chest, but then he just did a cylinder of the neck. It was just a cylinder, so there was none of this muscles or any of that stuff. So I just had to bring all that in. You could kind of see it on the Gwen. I don't know where I put the head, but so on this one you can sort of see it. Like, he did sort of sculpt the muscle, but then it's just a cylinder. So when I put this head on here, I'm gonna have to rebuild all those neck muscles, because you can even see the neck is wider than the way the head is. So it's kind of, it just goes to a cylinder. I don't know where I must have put the head somewhere in the box. But yeah, it goes up to a cylinder, and there's none of this muscles area here, so it's missing. But I did do I sanded down the skirt, so we have a nice, better looking skirt. I'll have to text you, Joe, when I get this weekend. But I'm thinking maybe we do like a belt here with like a nice like old school type of a belt. I think it'll look good. Yeah, I have it in my mind, but I'm thinking if it's like a darks, if the top is purple or something, we do like a black belt with like a white thing. I got some ideas. I'll get to you on it. I just wanted to. My main focus was trying to get this neck situated, so that's kind of why I haven't done much on this. I spent a good. See, it took me a while to position the head. I had to put the old head on and sort of kind of line up where the head's supposed to go. And then after that, I sort of attached the head. Then I had to Dremel this whole area out and sort of rebuild this. And I got it. But once I put the hair on, we're not going to see her hand, but that's okay. It's better that way anyway. Because I think her hand is stuck to the head, so it's screw it. But this one's coming along pretty good. I think once we get the hair on there, after I get the shirt done, it should look pretty good. We'll do a nice good style for the hair. Yeah, but he got lazy on the neck. The other stuff is good, like he did good with the stomach and the pants and, but he just got lazy on the neck for some reason. Other than that, they look fine. I mean, the head was kind of but the neck was the biggest problem. And now she has sleeves. I didn't really like the no sleeve t-shirt. It's kind of not a Mary Jane I'm ever used to seeing. Mary Jane usually always has sleeves. I don't know what Joe wants on this one. I don't know if we're gonna stylize it up, if we're gonna go classic. The way the hair was on the other one was kind of all over the place. I think I'll show you the head on the other one was kind of, the hair was a little bit looked like pasta, I guess you could say. So this was the head. So you can see the way he put the hand sort of in there, but it's very like I don't think the hand, like I think the hand is goes too far behind the neck. Like see where the hand is compared to like where this almost wrist ends. So I think the hand's too big. I'm not really sure, but we're doing it our way now. You know what it is I'm not knocking the sculpt, I'm just knocking that it seems that it wasn't finished. It feels like, you know, you got a lot of the sculpt pretty much done, but then when it got up to around the head and the hair, it seemed to be like unfinished, or kind of was like, okay, I'm done with the sculpt. But like I would love to be able to paint her up and not have to paint underneath the hand and stuff, but even the way it was designed, like this hand wasn't lining up at all, so I'll just paint it all in one shot. So what I'll do is I'll add some wrinkles around there, add some wrinkles here, work out the collar, and then from there sculpt hair. Well, I don't think the portrait was bad. It was this section. It was all of this here. This sort of was a mess, and I don't think the hand, the way the head was, the hand would come all the way over here. Like if your hand is like, put your hand behind your if you put your hand over here, like your arm would have to come way over more, you know? But when your hand is here, your hand should only be like right there, not like down here. So it was just weird. But I mean, it's a long story. It just wasn't finished. So we're printing it. We're gonna tweak it. But this head worked out great. I really do like the way this head looks on her now. Yeah, so Joe, this was actually Jacob's head. So Joe and Jacob, this is the head of her, so. And I added ears to her, because this way if we do sculpt a little bit around the ear, at least we see it. I gotta still sand and clean up a bit, but yeah, it's working out, you know. I think once it's done, it'll look good. We just gotta figure out what to do with the hair. Yeah, but he had her hand all the way over there. So, like I said, it's a long story, but we're correcting it, and it's working out. And like, I don't mind the way the shirt is. I mean, we could kind of make it a little messy, but I kind of like the way it's looking. But yeah, so that's MJ. A little bit more to go. Once we get everything done, it'll just start working on the hair. And then once we get the hair done, that's pretty much it for her. Then I'll go on to Gwen. Gwen's going to be a little tricky with that head. Yeah, I got a couple extra of those heart emblems. So, I got a whole sheet. So we're going to put one of those on. We'll do like I did the other Mary Jane. We'll use one of these, and then I'll dab it, make it look worn out. There was he had a sculpted emblem on here, and it was based off the Campbell artwork, but we're going to, we took that off, so you can see I got to kind of sand this down a bit more. Hold on, let me wash out my brushes. I want to salvage these as long as I can. Holy crap, I'm getting spammed non-stop about election shit. And I went and did my early voting today, too. Actually, I see a spot here. I'm probably gonna have to sand. Get this cleaned up here. So, forget about that. That's good. That's good. Alright, well I think that's it for the night. I don't have anything else really to work on. Everything else has got to cure. I need another day in the garage to sand and prep, and Raz finished up she said he finished up all the prints. So hopefully not next week, but hopefully the week after I should be able to start working on those. I figure once I get them in, I'll start putting them together. I mean, if I get them before the stream next week, we could kind of go over all the parts, you know, kind of go over everything. Raz, you got to send it priority too, so make sure you do priority. And I think we can start planning those out. So Raz won't be able to print the throne for Peach, but I do have a guy that has sort of a printer, and we're gonna print out the throne for her through him. But that'll be later down the line once I get her put together and we start planning it out. I got a bunch of artwork that I looked up for Peach, for her dominatrix, some ideas. Let's see, as far as Misty for Savage Land, that should be straightforward. And then the schoolgirl is going to be the tricky one, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, I have to. I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll go on Etsy and maybe I could find a cloth backpack that we could put on the base. Because Raz went through all the backpacks and I did too with 3D files, and everything is like perfectly sculpted backpacks. I mean, I could go on Etsy right now and kind of do a quick look. I guess, doll backpack. I don't know. Yeah, see, like, Etsy has these types of things, you know? For instance, here, like, boom, right off the... So if you look at miniature backpacks on Etsy, they're all over the place on Etsy. And they're only like, I don't know, some are like $5, some are like $8. They're everywhere. There's tons of them. All kinds. And they have zippers and you can open them. Yeah, so there's tons of, there's even like a duck backpack. There's just, yeah, loads of them. Yeah, so, well, I'll have to go through, I'll search, you know, find one I like that's in scale. And then after that, we can do a couple printouts for her. You know, maybe we could find some Street Fighter dolls or something and kind of put in the backpack. Yeah, Cammy. So you figure, you know, I could look up, maybe there's like a Street Fighter miniature game or something you could put in the bag. You know, we could find a couple things here and there. We'll figure it out. Raz is printing out the desk, but he's not printing out the bars, so he's going to print it out in sections, which he did, and then I'll put the desk together. Yeah, a little miniature bison, you know, could be sticking that in a bag type thing. I'm pretty sure there's something we could find. I'll look. I'm sure there's stuff out there. We'll figure it out. You know, kind of getting there. What it is I want to just get them in so I can start getting them built together. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video on how I put rods in them, and I'll post that on Patreon. And then this way we can start kind of working on them. Kind of start just kind of getting stuff going, and you know, like I said, I looked up a lot of the Peach Dominatrix stuff, so there's a couple ways we could go about it. I'll post that on Patreon, or I'll post it on the video, you know, as before I started, and we could kind of get a middle ground of what people are thinking they want to see for her. You know, we could go with just like a latex outfit, or we could go more dominatrix latex, but show us some skin. We could kind of go two different routes with her. As far as Misty though, I already pretty much got some good ideas for that with like torn outfit and stuff, so that should work pretty good. Raz was able, and I'll kind of go over in the video, he was able to print out a separate hand in scale and put a Pokeball into the hand. So this way when I attach it to Misty, I don't have to worry about the Pokeball breaking off, so that worked out pretty good. So we'll break it all down once I get all the parts, and we'll kind of go over everything and, you know, kind of just start planning it all out, and just, you know, and week by week we'll just go over all the projects. And depending on how things go, I still might, like, once we start working on them and I kind of do things here and there, I still might work on this item too and work on some others. So it's going to be a busy summer between those and all the commissions I got going on. I just finished up all those repairs. I got some more repairs I got to do. So yeah, it's going to be a busy summer. So we'll see how this stuff plans out. But what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to film that Supergirl. I'll get that video posted on Sunday. And then Jacob, what I'll do is I get her packed up and we could plan her, get her out to you this week. Alright? I was hoping to do it before the weekend, but it just didn't work out this week. I had too much other crap going on. Too much adulting on the house. Gotta get the house ready for the summer. But yeah, other than that, that's it. I'm ready to call it a night. If there's anything else, I'll let you guys know. Alright, so you guys have a good rest of your weekend. And hopefully we'll get these new Patreon items started up.